She's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment. Now come on now.
The Met Gala unfolds like the climax of a silver screen thriller. The flashbulbs erupting in staccato bursts, gowns dripping in diamonds, and an undercurrent of anticipation, so thick you could cut it with a knife. The carpet is a battleground of style and spectacle, until Justin Bieber makes his entrance. By his side, Hailey stands poised in every sense. Sleekly tailored ensemble, hair pulled into a flawless updo, an air of unshakable confidence that announces, "We are the ultimate power couple." They glide forward, wave, smile, and appear utterly untouchable. But then, there she is. Selena Gomez steps into view with a quiet yet magnetic poise. No dramatic entourage, no oversized props, just her. Draped in a liquid silver dress that traces every curve, she moves with effortless grace, commanding every eye in the room. For a split second, Justin's forward momentum halts. His practiced, celebrity-worn smile falters. His eyes flicker with something more than surprise, something almost mournful. Recognition? Regret? Whatever it is, Hailey catches it in an instant, her perfectly arched brow lifting in silent inquiry. The air shifts. A hush descends upon the onlookers who thought this chapter of their intertwined histories closed for good. In that pregnant pause, one loaded look, one breathless moment, the unspoken triangle of past romances and tangled emotions is dragged back into the spotlight. That if you haven't already, smash that like button and subscribe. It's free, and it helps us keep the cameras rolling on stories like this. Stick around until the final scene, because moments like the one we witnessed at the Met Gala 2025 aren't improvised. They're years in the making, pieced together from memories, heartbreaks, reconciliations, and the relentless glare of public fascination that turns private feelings into global headlines. For more than 10 years, Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez occupied the most captivating and tumultuous romantic saga of a generation. Their story transcended the usual teenage romance. It was a public odyssey of two young souls learning to navigate love, identity, and fame under the unforgiving glare of global attention. They first found each other just as they were stepping out of adolescence, brimming with ambition, creativity, and an intensity that felt destined for the spotlight. Every time they were together, there was an undeniable spark. In their music collaborations, on the red carpets, and in those candid backstage moments that hinted at something deeper than mere celebrity infatuation. But their connection was not without its storms. Whispered rumors of betrayal and unfaithfulness swirled through headlines, while emotional meltdowns and cryptic social media deletions provided a raw, unfiltered window into their struggles. Each breakup played out like a season finale, painful, dramatic, and impossible to ignore, only for the next reunion, chapters to unfold with equal passion and heartache. Countless fans tuned in as faithfully as any serialized drama, dissecting every glance, every lyric, every cryptic post. Eventually, the saga reached its final turning point. Justin found solace in the steady friendship of Hailey Baldwin, someone rooted in his church community and grounded in her own right. Their relationship, once a quiet corner of his life, blossomed into something new and unexpected. In 2018, he dropped to one knee, and shortly thereafter they exchanged vows in a modest courthouse ceremony. Friends and family later gathered for a lavish celebration to witness a different kind of love story, one built on healing, growth, and the promise of a calmer chapter. Justin and Hailey emerged as the picture of tranquility, proof that sometimes moving forward means embracing peace where once there was chaos. For her part, Selena embarked on a deeply personal voyage of healing and self-discovery. In 2020, she unveiled Rare, an album that felt like a love letter to her own resilience. Each track a testament to the lessons she'd learned and the woman she was becoming. No longer content to stay silent, she spoke candidly about living with lupus, the toll it took on her body and spirit, and the importance of advocating for her health. She shed light on her struggles with anxiety and depression, partnering with Rare Beauty to champion mental health initiatives and remind fans that vulnerability can be a source of strength. As Selena's public narrative shifted from the girl once defined by a high-profile romance to an artist defining her own destiny, she began to draw clearer lines around what she would and would not accept. She talked openly about boundary setting, in work, in friendships, and in love. Listeners applauded her growth, celebrating each new milestone. A confident interview, a bold Instagram post, a stage-ready performance that seemed to glow with hard-won self-assurance. Yet for all the progress, some observers noted the lingering signs of old wounds. Moments of quiet melancholy in her voice, lyrics that hinted at scars not yet completely healed. Then, in late 2024, came the unexpected chapter. Selena's relationship with hitmaker and producer Benny Blanco. Unlike the silver screen heartthrobs and tabloid fixtures of her past, Benny was disarmingly unassuming, quirky, thoughtful, his creative genius grounded by genuine humility. Fans were intrigued by the contrast. Here was someone who appeared to cherish Selena for her artistry and spirit, rather than her celebrity alone. So when May 2025 arrived and Selena stepped onto the Met Gala's storied red carpet, radiant in couture, exuding poise, yet looking decidedly solo, the world took notice. It wasn't a scandal that drew gasps, but a poignant question. Where was Benny Blanco? In his absence, Selena's solo moment spoke volumes about a journey still unfolding. A reminder that some stories are written one confident, solitary step at a time. Imagine them pausing at the threshold of the red carpet blaze, Justin and Hailey framed by a riot of camera flashes. Hailey's wearing a gown encrusted with pearls, each one glinting like tiny moons against her ivory train, while Justin, his hair artfully tousled, stands in a sharply tailored black suit, its clean lines softened by the subtlest hint of streetwear edge. Perhaps a crisp white tee beneath his jacket or a slender chain at his throat. Neither of them offers a broad, practiced grin. Instead, there's a quiet tension in their posture. Shoulders squared, chins lifted, eyes alert. Justin seeming almost guarded in this glittering arena, and Hailey effortlessly composed, her cool confidence a familiar shield. Then, as if summoned by the collective heartbeat of the room, the crowd parts and Selena emerges. The moment slows. Her gown, liquid silver and cut on the bias, catches every stray beam of light, molding itself to her silhouette with statuesque elegance. There's nothing overtly dramatic about it. No plunging neckline, no dizzying slit, just a mature, assured glamour that reads, "I've never been away." A soft gasp ripples through the onlookers, cameras swivel, and for the briefest instant, the ambient roar of the paparazzi gives way to a collective inhalation. In that charged silence, with Selena's serene smile and measured step, she stakes her territory once more. An entrance less about rivalry, and more about reclaiming her own narrative. The kind of moment that makes every flash feel both electric and inevitable. In that charged instant, Justin's world lurches on its axis. His gaze locks onto Selena as she moves through the flashbulbs, and you can almost see the pulse of recognition ripple across his face. His eyes go wide, a flicker of something unguarded, and his lips part, just the slightest fraction, before his features snap into a taut, almost rigid composure. In that breath, 1,000 memories play out in miniature. The laughter that once came easy, the music they shared in the late-night quiet, the arguments that ended in tears and apologies, the half-whispered promises charting futures neither of them could yet imagine. Hailey senses it immediately, because no woman ever misses the imperceptible shift in the man beside her, especially when that shift has nothing to do with her. She turns, ever so slightly, her expression inscrutable, and Justin's shoulder stiffens under her gaze. There's no outburst, no harsh word tossed into the air. Instead, the corridor seems to drop into a hush so deep you could hear a pin hit the carpet. Then, almost predictably, the digital world detonates. Within seconds, social media feeds flood with still frames. Close UPS of Justin's jaw as it tightens, slow-mo loops of his pupils trailing her silver gown, side-by-side gifs comparing his first look with every subsequent blink. Even a split second when Selena flicks her eyes toward him. No greeting, no smile, just a quick, almost regretful nod, gets magnified into an entire thesis on what it all means. Lip-reading TikTokers rush to translate his tension into theory after theory. The silence around them is deafening, but the noise online? It's nothing less than a full-blown echo chamber of all the unspoken, unresolved chapters they left behind, that he just leaned over and murmured, "She looks incredible." Within moments, body language aficionados were dissecting every frame, juxtaposing shots of Justin's past gazes at Selena with his posture now, noting how his torso ever so slightly pivots toward her presence. Across Twitter, GIFs looped endlessly. Justin's awestruck stare slowed to a crawl, as if he were glimpsing the echo of every song he'd ever penned for her. But in the periphery of that viral frenzy, another detail seized the spotlight. Hailey's grip on his hand. Observers paused clips to catch the quick, discreet whisper pressed into his ear. They noted the fraction of a beat delay before he responded, and Hailey's polished, tight-lipped smile that flickered only for the cameras. Speculation ignited. Was she bristling with jealousy? Feeling left out? Or was she simply reminding him of her steady alliance in this flashbulb gauntlet? Then there was the unanswered question of Benny Blanco. His name had topped the guest list. Only hours earlier, he dropped a cheeky comment on Selena's Instagram story. Yet on this red carpet stage, he was conspicuously absent. Did an argument derail his plans? Had he never intended to attend? And the most tantalizing theory, whispered with both excitement and a twinge of dread, was this. Did Selena choose to attend solo, fully aware Justin would be there? If so, was this a final testament to her closure, or a quiet invitation to reopen old chapters? Because this wasn't merely a love triangle. It was a sprawling love timeline, stretched thin by history, tangled by emotion, frayed at the edges, yet still smoldering with the embers of everything they once were. In that singular chamber of flashing lights and whispered anticipation, two worlds brushed against each other in silence, profound and impossible to erase. The Met Gala's grand finale unfolded, just as it always does. A stream of besooted stars and sequin goddesses slipping away to clandestine after-parties, champagne flutes clinking, fashion critics already typing feverishly about silhouettes and scandal. Yet amid the swirl of velvet ropes and gossip-laden chatter, one image refused to fade. There, at the lip of the red carpet perimeter, Justin Bieber stood anchored to the spot, Hailey Baldwin poised at his side, her hand firm on his arm. As Selena Gomez strolled past in that molten silver gown, its delicate threads catching every stray beam, Justin's composure fractured for an instant. His breath seemed to catch, pupils dilated, chest rising in a soft, unguarded gasp. Behind Hailey's practiced poise, a flicker of recognition passed, her eyes sharpening, her smile cinching ever so slightly. By sunrise, the morning headlines read like a script. Selena shimmers in silver, Bieber and Baldwin, cool as ice. But beneath the glossy banner lines, readers hungrily dissected the invisible currents. They passed the subtext in every glance, every micro-expression. That fleeting moment of vulnerability, the unspoken pull of old chapters, became the narrative's true focal point. And perhaps, when the day's spotlight moved on, it didn't signify rekindled flames or reopening wounds. Maybe it was simply a heartbeat of the past, a whisper in a crowded room, and nothing more. Maybe it was nothing more than a flicker of remembrance, a sudden, breath-stealing echo of a life she once lived, brushing up against the here and now. Or maybe that split second carried all the weight of every lyric he'd ever written about her. After all, Justin Bieber is a married man now. Hailey has been his steadfast refuge through the fiercest storms, the darkest bouts of anxiety, the road to sobriety, the sometimes unforgiving spotlight of fame. She isn't just the woman at his side. She's been the anchor that keeps him from drifting. And yet, even the strongest anchors can feel unbearably heavy when the tide of memory surges in from a time you never quite left behind. Selena Gomez, too, wears the promise of a new chapter, engaged, happy, forging ahead. Or at least that was the last headline we saw. But on that evening, as she stepped alone into a room teeming with flashbulbs and whispers, she wasn't a chart-topping artist or a headline statistic or anyone's second act. She was a woman utterly at ease in her own skin, every inch the portrait of grace under pressure. There was a quiet power in her stride, a composed calm in her gaze, as if to say, I know who I am, and I own it. Perhaps she was truly unbothered, or perhaps she was mastering the art of appearing so. But either way, it was achingly relatable. Because at one time or another, we've all felt the pull of a past we thought we'd outgrown, the subtle thrill of an old chapter reopening, and the determination to prove to ourselves that we've grown stronger for it. We've all felt that sudden jolt when someone from our past re-emerges, changed just enough to make your heart skip a beat. In an instant, the neat sense of closure you'd painstakingly built up feels as fragile as parchment. Your steady, present-day relationship wavers under the weight of a single glance, a half-remembered laugh, a silhouette in a shimmering silver gown. And in that charged heartbeat, you find yourself asking, have I truly moved on, or merely marched forward? Was what we had real love, or simply a story left unwritten? Do I dare risk reopening that old chapter, or is it finally time to release every lingering thread? That's the remarkable power of such a fleeting moment. Not because it scripts a brand new narrative, but because it yanks open an old one. It forces us to revisit the first flush of infatuation, the sting of heartbreak, the labor of forgiveness, and the tangled mess that emerges when memory and reality collide. Under the glare of celebrity spotlights and the glare of our own inner scrutiny, We're reminded that sometimes the most difficult crossings aren't those we face ahead of us, but the ones we feel compelled to retrace behind. All the while, the global spotlight hungrily scans for sound bites, breakup rumors, and hidden signals. But the real story might be something far quieter, more intimate. Even the most high-profile celebrities, those whose lives we feel we can read in tabloids and tear-stained headlines, are still only human. They, too, grapple with the same tangled emotions that keep us awake at night. The ache for closure that never quite comes, the pang of regret for roads not taken, the bittersweet pull of longing, and the gnawing certainty that growth sometimes demands letting go. And perhaps the most wrenching of these emotions is the moment you recognize someone you once loved, not as a flashback, but as a stranger, walking right past you. In that heartbeat, every memory pulses to the surface, every unspoken word trembles on your lips, and you're left wondering if you ever truly healed, or simply learned new ways to carry the weight. So maybe this year's Met Gala spectacle wasn't about avant-garde silhouettes or glittering jewels at all. Maybe its deepest drama was the silent collision of past and present. That electric instant when someone you thought you'd outgrown re-enters your world, and your heart remembers the story before your mind has a chance to catch up.